What is up, guys? This is Richard Reacts, and welcome to the new video. And this is this is gonna be the most controversial video I probably have on this channel so far. So please like this video, subscribe, and post or do whatever on the channel. We're reacting to top 10 scary last words for prison inmates. So here we go. Let's do it.
Any regrets?
Yes, I do. Yes. If I could take things back, I would.
Death row inmates are given one last opportunity to say their final words. This opportunity is usually given at the absolute last minute before the prisoner is executed. So here's the top 10 scary last words from Prison Inmates Part 3. If you guys missed Part 2, you guys can click right over here. How's it going, YouTube? I'm your host for this one, Landon Dalitzing, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you guys aren't already subscribed here, what the heck are you guys waiting for? We're on the road to...
Before anything else, I'm just gonna do it. You're so welcome, sir. So welcome, sir.
5 mil. Can we do it? Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button with the bell notification up. As soon as we make a video, you guys will be notified right away. Alright, let's get this creepy list started. In at number 10 with Gary Gilmore. During a robbery, Gilmore shot a man twice in the head, even though he was cooperating with his demand. The next day, he attempted to rob a motel, and he ended up fatally shooting the manager in the head. He confessed to the police that he killed 2 people in cold blood, but he was only tried for one of the murders because there wasn't enough physical evidence against him for the other murder. I mean, what the heck? If someone admits to a crime...
Wait, so you're telling me that even though this guy just admits he kills 2 people, he only gets a trial in 1 murder?
Isn't that enough? Well, the judge sentenced him to a death penalty, and he had a choice of being executed by hanging or shot by a firing squad. I guess he's a fan of irony because he chose to get killed by a firing squad. And his infamous last words were, "Let's do it." Those definitely...
Let's do it.
A firing squad. And his infamous last words were, "Let's do it."
Let's do it? Okay.
Those definitely wouldn't be my final words. I'd probably be screaming. I think Nike must have been inspired by his final last words. Let's do it. Climbing up this list, and at number 9, we're talking about Erskine Childers. Now, I know what you guys must be thinking. Everyone on this list must have committed a horrible crime in order to get the death penalty. While he might be our one exception to this rule. Childers was actually an Irish author who wrote a lot of successful novels, but he also had a little bit of a dark side. He would smuggle guns into Ireland with his sailing yacht until he was caught and sentenced to death. I mean, this...
Wait. So, he would...
into Ireland with his sailing yacht until he was caught and sentenced to death. I mean, this seems pretty harsh, but this was during the late 1800s. But what...
So, he got executed because he brought guns, I would say. Yeah, into...
and sentenced to death. I mean, this seems pretty harsh, but this was during the late 1800s.
Okay, 1880s, no, 18,000s, whatever. The late 18s, thousands. Yeah. They didn't really have like 20 years. Well, they didn't really have like, you know, sentence where if you rather have like a life sentence, 20 years, yeah. If you steal something, like in the 1800s, they would execute you for stealing something. They would execute you if you rob a bank. Something like that. So, yeah, this is way different.
Hundreds. But what makes things even worse, he filed an appeal and it was pending when they executed him, which is highly illegal today. So before he was executed by a firing squad, he said, "Take a step forward, lads. It will be easier that way." I don't blame him for being bitter. I think this was a pretty cruel and unusual punishment for his crime. Number 8, we have Jimmy Glass, who said, "I'd rather be fishing." Yeah, no I think I'd rather be in a cave of sleeping grizzly bears or at a One Direction concert than be on the chopping block about to die. It's like Jimmy doesn't really give a shit that he's about to die. I think he must have come to terms with his death, because those definitely aren't inspiring or moving last words. I wonder what he picked to be engraved on his tombstone. "I'd rather be alive." But before you start feeling sorry for him, just know that he was a convicted murderer, so he had it coming. John Avalos Alba brings us to number 7. He was handed down the death penalty for fatally shooting his wife while he was out on bail for a child molestation charge. He was finally executed by lethal injection on May 25th, 2010. I bet the judge who set his bail was feeling really guilty for not setting it higher. So for his final statement on Earth, he said this airy line: "Okay, Warden, let's do it. I love ya. I can taste it already. I'm starting to go." I mean, that just gives me chills. I read that you can feel the cold rush of the lethal injection piercing through your veins. Probably the worst feeling ever. And of course, it's the last feeling ever. I don't know whether or not that's true, but I guess I don't care to know. And now, in at our number 6 spot, we have a really odd last words. James French was a convicted murderer, and he was actually the last person to be executed under Oklahoma's death penalty. He was a pretty violent man. He was already convicted to life in prison.
I'm not saying this is true. Yeah, he was sentenced to life in prison for murdering a guy, and then he killed his cellmate, so he can get death penalty, so he can get sentenced to death.
Prison for murdering a man who had picked him up from hitchhiking, but he had the desire to die, so that's when he brutally murdered his cellmate in order to get the death penalty. As soon as he was prepped to be executed by the electric chair, he came up with these infamous last words. How's this for a headline? French fries. Do you guys get it? His last name was French, and he was about to get fried by the electric chair.
That's, I mean, if his last name is French, then if he's about to die from an electric chair, then he's going to be called French fried.
Chair. I know I shouldn't be laughing, but it's a little clever.
I shouldn't even laugh about that, but it's like, he rhymes so well with that.
From one scary but clever final statement to another, and at number 5 is George Apple. He said, "Well, gentlemen, you are about to see a baked apple." I would like to think I was given the opportunity for a final statement. I would say something clever like this, but it's also pretty morbid if you think about it. So actually, maybe I would use the opportunity to say something wise. Well, thankfully, I don't really have to think about it because I don't intend to ever be on death row. But anyways, George Apple was originally sentenced to death for committing an evil murder, so I guess he had it coming. Now, number 4 brings us to John Rook. In 1980, he kidnapped a 25-year-old nurse in a parking lot where she worked. She was taken to an empty field where she was abused and murdered by Rook. After the killing, he ran her body over with his car. I mean, wow, was that even...
What the
Rook. After the killing, he ran her body over with his car. I mean, wow.
After this guy just killed a nurse, the guy ran over the lady. Really?
Murdered by Rook. After the killing, he ran her body over with his car. I mean, wow, was that even necessary?
No,
After he was sentenced to death, he made several appeals, but they all failed. So on the day of his execution, he said, "Freedom! Freedom at last!" It's been a good one. Well, I hope you enjoy your freedom, and I'm glad you won't be able to hurt anyone ever again. Tory Twain McNabb takes us to number 3 on our list. He was executed by lethal injection for killing a police officer back in 1997. His lawyers attempted to make an appeal stating that the state's execution methods was cruel and unusual, but the judge was pretty firm and declined their appeals. So during his final minutes, he said, "Mom, sis, look at my eyes. I got no tears. I am unafraid. To the state of Alabama, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you." And as the procedure began, he raised his middle finger to the police officers, and he actually died in that position. I mean, wow, what an honorable way to go. Not. And now at number 2 is Carlos Granados. During a heated argument with his girlfriend, he grabbed a large kitchen knife and stabbed her 3-year-old son. I mean, whoa, talk about anger management issues.
What?
And stabbed her 3-year-old son. I mean, whoa, talk about anger management issues.
Exactly.
And he also stabbed his girlfriend 30 times, but she survived and was able to testify against him.
No, 30 times, and she survived. No freaking way.
In court. For his final meal, he requested fried chicken, pizza, and a soft drink. And right before he was given the lethal injection, he said, "Kathy, you know I never meant to hurt you. I gave you everything, and that's what made me so angry. But I never meant to hurt you. I'm sorry." Well, I think it's a little bit too late for an apology. I hope she didn't even show up to his execution. Topping off this morbid list, and at number 1, we have Peter Manuel. He is actually known as Scotland's worst serial killer ever. He was convicted of murdering a total of 7 people between the years of 1956 and 1958, but it is believed that he killed many more people. He was hanged at Glasgow's Barlinnie prison, and he was one of the last people to have ever been executed in these gallows ever since the death penalty was overturned. But before he stepped out to his death, he said, "Turn up the radio and I'll go quietly." There's this
Turn the radio, and I will go quiet. Bro.
something about that statement that gives me the chills. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We'll see you guys all in the next most amazing top 10 video.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god. What are these people thinking? There is no way. There is absolute no way. Oh my god. Crazy. That's absolute crazy. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you all into the next one. And please like this video, subscribe, and yeah, see you guys all in the next one. Peace.